Hello, and welcome to Kandi Unfiltered, where real life meets real talk. I'm Candy Cox, your host, and this is the space where, we dig into everything from politics to just everyday life, faith, family. Nothing is off the table, and we unfilter everything and we just spill it out and say the things that no one else will say. Today, my guest is a really good friend of mine, Alana Morris. Alana owns a store here in the Benton area, actually downtown, and it's called the Downtown Corner Boutique. It is a place where you'll find all the latest fashions for us women and some young girls too. Some other things that you'll find in Alana's store are some of the coffee syrups that we all love so much, and you'll find jewelry that's handmade and handmade soaps, and she's got a wonderful area of party paper goods. So come and visit her in the downtown area of Benton, the Downtown Corner Boutique.
This episode is brought to you by Pretties and Grace, a faith-based boutique offering high-quality home decor and gifts at prices for every budget. From stunning vases and greenery to statement seasonal pieces for every holiday, plus the sweetest gifts, they truly have it all. Pretties and Grace has 3 locations, their main store in the heart of downtown Benton, along with shops in Malvern and Fayetteville. You can also browse and shop online at prettiesandgrace.com. A huge thank you to Pretties and Grace for sponsoring this episode.
Alana, welcome. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm so glad to have you. It's taken me a little bit to get you on because you're busy. But we're both a little bit busy and our schedules don't always work together so well. That's right. That's right. And for those that they are looking and you're like wondering if Alana and I have the same shirt on but different colors, we do. We do today. I actually am decked out in all of the Downtown Corner Boutique items, as so are you, as usual. And we think alike. We're like soul sisters. And she walks in this morning. She's like, "Oh, I've got the same shirt on, just different color." I'm glad she wore a different color. Yeah, but we could have been Twinkies. Right, it's like don't show it to the prom dressed alike, right?
Well, and I was like, I don't think she bought the green one.
Yeah, no, I don't wear green. Green's not my color.
It is mine.
Yeah, yeah. And so, anyways, now, Elena, we met in 2009, October of 2009. We both moved into the same subdivision that was an early build. We were one of the first few houses there, phase one, both on the same street, had daughters the same age.
Right.
So they started running around being friends together, and us moms have to know who each other are and that our kids are hanging out with. So we've been friends for a minute,
Just a little bit.
and gone through some like experiences together.
Oh, definitely.
And still coming through like experiences together.
It's nice to have a friend to go through those experiences with.
That's right. That's right. Now, when we first met, you have 3 children. And so that's Anastasia. No, I mean, Anastasia's the daughter-in-law. Sorry.
We'll get to her. She was like there.
We'll get to that. Jordan, and then your site Chandler, and then Avery. And Avery and my daughters are the same age, Avery and Mallory. And so now your 2 oldest are married now, correct? And that's been fun.
It has been fun. My son and daughter-in-law are celebrating their 5-year anniversary this month.
And I can't believe it.
Yeah, they were a COVID wedding, and we had lots of interesting things. Candy coordinated the wedding, and so we got to experience a lot of
That's a sidekick for both of us.
Yeah.
We both coordinate weddings.
There's not enough else to do in life. We got to
But there's like hobby things that we really, really enjoy. It's not work. It's like something that we really enjoy. And so I coordinated their wedding. It was a beautiful wedding.
It was. It was what? Yeah, it was.
But goodness, it's hard to believe.
5 years. And then my oldest just got married last September, and her husband live in Little Rock, and they're doing great. They're dog parents, not parents yet, thank goodness. Youngest, Avery, is in Little Rock, and she's doing the adulting thing most days.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Well, at that age, they're really starting to really figure it out.
Yes.
I mean, like, when they turned 18, they think they're adults. Oh, and they're so far from it. And then when they get to the mid-20s, they're really starting to start paving their way and
Yes.
realizing that maybe they don't know everything, and mom does know some things.
We're all of a sudden real people with experience again.
That's right. That's right. As my daughter said the other day, my son's going through something, and I told him, I said, "Well, we'll talk." And Mallory goes, "Well, I'm going to talk to him." And then she was like, "And then you can give your wisdom later."
There you go. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And so when we met, of course, our kids were young at the time, and running grade, yeah, grade, yeah, fourth grade, and running the little streets and playing in the creek in the woods because most of the neighborhood was still woods at the time. Yep. My girls reminisce about when they were building the forts, and
Oh, yeah.
in the wooded area, and then they were really sad as the houses were going up and.
Could no longer do that.
And my driveway is the one in the neighborhood that before they built the houses across the street that everyone in the neighborhood would come to if it was icy outside, snowed, because my driveway is the best driveway to do like when you're walking. What are those things called when you're walking in school?
Inclines.
Yeah, and that. Oh, yeah, yeah.
What are they called?
I don't do them, so I don't know. Either. But, I'll have to think about that because I know it, but it just went through it just
Burlos?
no, 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 gosh, no.
No, because that's good.
Yeah, I know Jordy would probably enjoy doing some burpees on my driveway.
Yeah, her true crossed itself.
Yes, yes. And so, you were married at the time, and, um, we lived on that street for a long time together.
For 10 years.
10 years. One of the hardest things, I know for me as a friend was, seeing your house go up for sale. That was hard when you went through a divorce.
Right.
And you stayed home. You were a stay-at-home parent. I always say, if you wanna know any schedule with the schools, whatever it is, football, cheer,
Just
any school says days out of school, days out of school. Just ask Alana. Even to this day, her kids haven't been in school all this time. And when I want to plan something for ABBA Charities, she's like, "Well, let me, oh no, this is going on, and you got playoffs here." And I'm like, "How do you keep up with all that?" But you were so involved. People who say stay at home moms, like you, they're not not involved, and they're not busy because
It's a job.
yeah, you stay busy full time, and you were really invested in the school, with the kids, what was going on, so much so that even today, you know the schedules.
Oh, yeah. I still have so many friends in the community that I worked with through PTOs or whatever. And so I always looked back at my time as a stay at home mom. I see that as a privilege. 'Cause
Yeah.
not a lot of people are in the situation where they can do that.
Right.
And so I wanted to stay as involved as possible in my kids' lives, in the community, and just be helpful where I could be helpful within the confines of not missing out time with my kids after school
Right.
or their activities or whatever. And I was very fortunate to get to do that for all of those years.
Right. Right. And, so you had all of that going on, and you were so invested, and then comes the divorce. And although you were not working outside of the home, you were working very hard within the community, but now you find yourself in a different state of life after 20, how long?
I was married 26, just shy of 27 years.
Just shy of 27 years. And now it's like, okay, I'm going to have to start looking at going back into the workforce. And many women, when they're going through this stage, think, how in the world am I going to do this? How in the world am I going to pick myself up and go forward? Am I even valuable to a company when I've not worked in so long? Although you've worked in the world's eyes worked. You're right. You've not held a job position in so long. That's a scary place to be as someone who's not been in the workforce for that amount of time.
It was a very hard transition. I was lucky I did get a part-time job literally right before we separated, because all my kids were grown and life was moving on, and I was like, I need something to make some extra money. So I did have a part-time job, occupy my time, because all of a sudden I didn't have kids to run here and there. I didn't have school activities. So I had taken a part-time job right before the separation, and so that kind of carried me through the divorce and getting through those days, so I had some consistency in life.
Right.
But as I started looking for full-time work, not having job experience and all of that for 20 years
Right. Right.
was very difficult, and finding a job was hard.
Yeah.
I read a statistic recently, and it was like 63% of women that go through a divorce after the age of 40 end up living below the poverty level, because so many of them, women in general, make less money.
Right.
But so many of them worked part-time or did shift work or did different things and just didn't make enough money to sustain themselves post-divorce.
Right.
So that was a scary thing. And I was lucky that I had a lot of support
Yeah.
in family and friends. And then my ex-husband and I had a business together. So there was some financial stability for me in that way for a couple of years.
Right.
But yeah, then it was, okay, my life looks nothing like I thought it was going to look at 48 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know what a future looks like.
Yeah.
And so that was very uncertain, very scary. But like I said, I had lots of support.
Yeah.
And, one thing after another came into play, and I found a job that was full time. And then that business went under. And so then I'm sitting there and I looking around and I'm like, what do I want to do? Here I am. I'm 50 years old, 51 years old. What do I want my life to look like?
Right.
For the first time, and I just said this to you last night at dinner, but for the first time, I stopped and said, I can think about me,
Yes.
what I want, what I need, and what my future looks like. It wasn't based on being a wife or a mother.
Yeah.
Or a friend or a daughter or a sister. I could just focus on me.
Because I think especially when our kids are younger and when we're married, our identity gets so wrapped up in our kids and taking care of our kids and our husbands and taking care of our husbands and supporting them, whatever that support looks like. And that's where our identity gets wrapped up in. And we forget that we are too a person. And we are also very important, right? And so now you get to start thinking about Alana, right?
It was a very odd thought that I could put myself before my kids,
Yeah.
before what my parents needed.
Did you feel a little selfish at
Oh, at first, it was a very selfish feeling. It was very much so, how can I do this?
Right.
Because all these other people still need things.
Yeah.
And the first time that I told my youngest, she was in college at the time in Jonesboro. First time she was like, Mom, I need you to come up here and do this. And I said, no, I have this weekend. And she was like, you've never told me no. And I said, yeah, but I've already got something planned for this weekend and I'm not going to change my plans this time. But I can come up next weekend.
Right.
It wasn't that you aren't important.
Right.
It was that sometimes what I need and what's going on with me is more important.
Right. Right.
So that was hard.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about on my last couple podcasts is being the importance of, as a mom and as a woman, as a business owner, about, taking time for ourselves and how that's so important for our physical health, our spiritual health, our mental health, and we've talked about some things that, like I'm a big, big advocate of my baths, right? Like, I set the tone in my bath, I do detox baths, and I light the candle, and I put on some soft music, and I just relax. Most of the time, I have a glass of wine. And that's just me kind of shutting the world out, 2 to 3 times a week where I can just breathe and focus on me and how important that is. And, as women, to get to the place where you feel, especially as a mom, where you feel like you can do that, because when my kids were younger, that's not something that I felt like I could do. Um, because you didn't go to the bathroom without everyone needing you in that moment. Right? So, um, but you have to, it's hard to get out of that mind frame of feeling like it's selfish to do that. And we kind of get lost in other people.
And that's exactly where I was. I didn't know who I was separate from being a wife, a mother, a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
because those were my 3 main roles.
Right.
I was fortunate that I did stay home, and I did have 1 morning a week where I would take the kids to school, and I would come home, and I didn't clean the house, I didn't do anything. I would sit and read, or I would sit on the back porch and drink coffee, or whatever that looked like. So I did have that little bit of time, but I will tell you I wasn't consistent with it,
Right.
because there were other things that took priority.
Right.
Whereas post-divorce, um, it was very hard, and this gets back into religion and Christianity. It was very hard for me to walk through church doors alone.
Mm-hmm.
As a single person who had always attended church with my family,
Yes.
walking in alone was very hard.
Yeah.
Luckily, by that point, a lot of churches in late 2018, 2019 were doing online worship services and different things. And I got to where Sunday mornings I would get up about 7 a.m. I'd make my coffee. I'd go sit on the back porch. I would drink my cup of coffee. I would turn on Facebook Live for some church service, depending on which one I was watching that week. And I would sit there, and that was my time of worship and being with the Lord, because going in person was too hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we went into COVID.
Yeah.
So we separated.
Really isolated because no one's meeting, no one's going out, no one's.
Yeah.
And so you're going through a divorce, your life is completely different, and now there's isolation.
Well, and I had several steps in there. So the separation happened in 2018. The divorce was final in 2019. I had surgery in 2019. It had major complications from surgery.
Yes. Scared us to death.
Yeah. Well, when you stop breathing on the table, kind of scared everybody. But obviously, I've healed from all of that. But I literally got released the week that COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, I was free to get out there and meet people again, and the world shut down.
Yeah.
And I had 70-year-old parents, so I wasn't going to visit my parents.
Right.
I was still working in the office 1 day a week.
Mm.
So I was still seeing people 1 day a week. Now, when we're wearing masks and we were doing different things, and the way we did it at the office that I was working at the time is I was part-time still, and each of us worked in the office 1 day a week. We worked Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I did Fridays. And so I was around people on Fridays to process paperwork and everything, because I worked for an attorney at the time. But it was very isolating.
It was a very crazy time in life for everyone.
Yeah.
And I look back at that and go, how insane were we? But
Well, yeah. But I had a best friend that was also single, and so he didn't have anybody at home. So we would literally spend 5 and 6 hours on the phone because we couldn't be together. I would spend hours on the phone with my mom and dad. They would pass the phone back and forth, and I would talk to them on the phone. But that's what we did. So it was just this. I told my dad, I said, I feel like it's just been one hit after another during that time. Fast forward a year later, my dad passed away.
Yeah.
So I had literally 3 years from the end of 2018 to the beginning of 2021 where it was one challenge and one crisis, it felt like, after another.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was hard.
Yes.
But coming out on the other side of that, and this is where I say therapy is worth its weight in gold.
I think everybody needs therapy. Mm-hmm.
I mean, my therapist told me when I was ready to date again. She told me a lot of times, she told me hard truths where, yeah, this is where you messed up in your marriage,
Yeah.
but this is what you did right.
Yeah.
So she gave me both sides of that,
Yeah.
and that helped me get through those really challenging times.
Right.
And so I advocate for therapy 100%, but life just doesn't always go according to plan.
That's right. That's right.
I guess that's the thing I've taken away from the last 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't have a plan because that's when God laughs. Yeah, that you know what the saying?
Yeah. We think that we have it under control, but we really don't.
We do not.
We do not have it under control. And that's where it's so important in your faith to be still before the Lord, to be in His Word, and to listen to His still small voice within your spirit, because we all go through trials. When you were served with divorce papers, I know, because you and I are such good friends, that was the last thing that you ever thought would happen. It was devastating. It rocked your world. It blindsided you as not something that you saw coming at all. And that's why it's so important that we're grounded in our faith, not in a church, not in religion, but in our faith. Because how do we get through those things without that? Mm-hmm.
Without lots of faith,
Yeah. Faith,
lots of prayer,
support,
and support.
the right type of support.
Yeah, people that are going to tell you, yes, go work on this, go try this,
Yeah.
go and support you through all of the different things,
Yeah.
but also counsel you wisely.
Yes.
And that's like, when everything happened, it happened on a Sunday. I told my parents that very day. We waited about 2 weeks before we told the kids,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll never forget that Friday. I mean, I went to work on Monday. It happened on Sunday. I went to work on Monday, went to work on Wednesday, went to work on Friday. And Friday, I finally was like, okay, I've got to tell somebody. And I called Kandi that afternoon and literally couldn't speak. She comes to my house. We sit there until like midnight. And she's like, do you have anything to eat? I haven't eaten all day. It's like, I got fresh salsa that I made.
We sat there for hours.
We sat there for hours, me just sobbing. And that's just talking. Okay, so what does that look like now? What can we do to make tomorrow okay?
Right.
We know it's not going to be good, but what's tomorrow look like? Can I make it okay?
Right. How can we put our next foot in front of this one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of those first 3 or 4 months was.
Yeah.
Just figuring out how to get out of bed, how to put one, how to brew the other. Yeah. Well, I still have a painting at my house that somebody gave me early on in that process, and it has those little puffy flower things on it, and it just says "Just breathe."
Yes.
And I put that up in my bedroom at the old house, and then it's in my bedroom at my house now. And there were some days that I literally looked at that and just said, okay, I'm going to take 10 seconds and just breathe.
Yeah.
Because it was just a reminder, because there were some moments where I didn't know.
And we didn't even touch on that, Alana. Like the home that you raised your kids in, you are now having to leave from.
Yeah. And, at the time, I really fought hard to be able to stay in that house.
Yes.
And I was not allowed to because of the way our divorce settlement was. And now looking back at it, settling and moving forward,
Yeah.
was probably the best.
Yeah. It was a blessing, but it was so hard. It was like one more gut punch.
Well, and that was
Because it wasn't you leaving on your terms.
and that's it. Yes, it was never about. I knew at some point I was going to sell that house.
Right.
It was way too big for one person.
Right.
Did I want to clean the house and all that? But I was already being forced to let go of my marriage. I was already being forced to let go of the life that I had.
Right.
I was already being forced to let go of the dreams and the thoughts and the plans that we had.
Right.
It was one more thing I was being forced to let go of.
Right.
And so I didn't want to leave at that point. Where I wanted to stay and be able to do that on my terms.
Right.
And when I wasn't allowed to, it was hard.
Yes.
Moving day was hard. But now looking back at it,
Mm-hmm.
that was probably a nice, good, clean break
Yeah.
and a fresh start.
Yes.
Because I say that the Lord knew what he was doing because he knew the complications I was going to have with surgery just 3 months later.
Right.
He knew COVID was coming, and I would have been sitting in that big house
Mhm.
all alone
With all the
with all the memories. That would have been so much harder than being in my new space,
Right.
feeling good after surgery, finally, and getting to go and tweak and decorate and do these little things and those little things. And it gave me fresh start.
Yeah, because as a woman, you weren't your home wasn't it wasn't tailored and decorated for taking your husband's consideration and the family. You now, because you were forced to do that, now it becomes a Lana space.
It was totally my space. White couches and pink pillows and free for
Everything that we always dream of, everything we'll never accomplish.
I mean, it is a total free for a girly house, but it was me and then Avery when she came on for summers.
Right.
And so it was a girl's house. And so literally everything was pink and flowers, a little bit of teal here and there. And then, fast forward a few years, but I started dating somebody. And the first time he came into my house, he goes, "This is definitely a girl's home."
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about it.
But I had a lot of fun. But, it evolved and it's not all pink anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, that was fun.
Right. Right.
And it was totally my space. And I got to put the pictures of my kids up that I loved. I got to take new pictures of me with just my kids.
Right.
And I got to see things from fresh eyes and from a fresh start. And that was good.
Right.
Was it hard? Yes.
Yes.
But it was good.
Yeah. And so you were working full time and that business, went under and it closed. And so now you're like, okay, what do I do now? Well, and when going through these trials in life, sometimes I just said to you last night, I think I said it again this morning. It's just another thing. Like we go through these trials where it's like one thing after another, and sometimes life feels like it is bearing down on you. And that's even in marriage, it's family, it's business, it's everything. It feels like it's bearing down on you, and you're like, I don't know that if I can take one more thing on my plate. So now you're at a place where the business closes and now you have to figure out, okay, what's next?
Yeah. And so the business closed, and I'm going to touch on that. So my dad, I would always tell my dad before he passed away, Dad, I can't handle anything else. And he would always tell me, you're stronger than you think you are. You're stronger than you. So right before the business closed, I went and got my first tattoo on my foot, and it says stronger because of my dad. And so I really, going into that next year, I had met a man, and he was very supportive. My kids were all very supportive. My mom, after my dad passed, my mom and I got to do a lot of things just mom-daughter because it was just the two of us. And I understood to some extent where she was. No, I had not lost my husband to death,
Right.
but I had lost my husband and my marriage. And, my mom was losing all that at 55 years of marriage and almost 60 years of them being together. And so I was able to understand and relate to her in a way that my brother couldn't.
Right.
Did I fully understand? No.
Right. Right.
Not at all. But I got the opportunity of that year before the business closed, my mom came and lived with me for 4 months while she built a new house.
Right.
And so we had some of those things. So when the business closes, and I'm like, okay, so God, this is you saying that I need to take another direction. So I'm going to be still and I'm going to wait. So, 1 month turns to 2 months, and 2 months turns to 3 months, and 4 months. And then we finally, my family had scheduled a Mediterranean cruise the year of COVID.
Mhm.
And finally, in 2023, we finally got to take that cruise. It had been planned for May before I lost my job, and it was all paid for. So we still went on that cruise in May and came back from, we were on the cruise, and one morning, Mom and I were sitting on deck, and we were talking and drinking some coffee, or she was drinking a Diet Coke. And I said, Mom, I don't know what's next. And she told me, she said, you'll know, the right thing will present itself, you'll know. And I'm like, when will I know? Because it's been 5 months. Right. It's time for me to know. There is no more unemployment. There is, Ron has so much money here, Mom. And so we came back from that cruise like June 1st. 10 days later, a business went up for sale in Benton, which is really kind of interesting because back in 2020, this same business came up for sale. And I had inquired about it, but by the time she got back to me, she had already sold the business. Exact same business. And I'd even told my dad, I said, hey, this business went up for sale. And he said, you would probably enjoy doing something like that. Right. And like I said, this was during COVID, so nobody was going out and doing a whole lot. Right. So when it sold so fast, I was like, well, maybe that just wasn't the right thing. I took the new job, went to work full time. But here we are, 10 days after I've gotten back from this cruise, and I called my mom and I said, I need to come talk to you. And so I went over to Mom's house and I said, here's what it looks like. I said, I want to go meet with them. And she's like, I think you should. So met with them. They were like, oh, we've got a couple other people we're going to talk to. And I went back to Mom and I said, here's where it stands. This is what I've offered, everything. And she went, I think that all sounds good. She said, now let's just go pray about it. And so I said, okay. So I went home and I prayed about it. Like 2 hours later, I'm sitting at my boyfriend's house, and she texts me and she said, we decided we're not talking to anybody else. We want you to have it. And I just started crying. Yeah. And I called my mom and I said, Mom, they took my offer. She's like, I guess we got to figure out how we're going to fund this, huh? Like, yeah, we got to figure that out. God answered that. Now we got to figure out how we're going to pay for it. This out. So, but it was just, and it all just fell together. Yeah. So, we went from, I think it was like June 18th, I made the offer, to July 24th, my business line funded, and I bought a business. Closed for 2 weeks, and that's been almost 2 years ago. And has it been easy? No. It's a roller coaster. Retail is a roller coaster. Yeah. January, June, and July stink because everybody's paying off Christmas. Yeah. Are going on vacation, so they don't want to spend any money. Right. The rest of the year is kind of ups and downs. There's not a lot of consistency to it, but we're figuring it out. Right. And it's fun.
Yeah. So the one thing that I love about your boutique is, I love shopping in boutiques, and I love giving, local. I'm all about shopping local and supporting local organizations. And the one thing that I love about yours is, going into boutiques, you either get one or two things. You either get, we're not teenagers or young 20s anymore. And so finding something that where I'm going to dress hip, I'm going to be hip, but I don't want
It's not a crop top that shows your midsection.
not going to be showing the belly. No, I still want to look cute. But I want to be dressed appropriately for my age, but I don't also want to look like a grandma.
And that's so different for our generation.
Yes.
Because my mother's generation, they had to have, yellow pants with the yellow jacket, with the floral yellow shirt, with the yellow shoes.
Yeah.
Everything matches. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about grandma. Yeah. But you can be put together without being matchy-matchy, and that's what they haven't learned yet.
Right, right. And so you have the two extremes, right? When you go into the boutiques, and I say it's kind of like shopping the boutique or going to something like Chico's, right? Where it does look very older generation. And so we still want to look hip, and nothing bad on Chico's, because I do have some really cute stuff, but that's just kind of one of just flings hair lubricant out there. My other area has some really cute stuff, and I'm just trying to, I don't want to look like a grandma. And so one of the things I love about yours is the fashion forward boutique. And you also, as a plus size woman, you're very sensitive to carry plus size clothes, which most boutiques do not.
Right.
And so, being a woman that wears plus size clothing, and you want to be fashion forward and in the latest trends, your boutique offers that.
Yeah, so I have a lot of the brands that I buy go from size 0 to size 26.
Yeah.
So you can get the same top in a size 0 to a size 26.
Yeah.
Because
Because she had a top in there that I wanted so badly,
but it was a size 18 and above.
and I kept going, "But Atlanta," she goes, "I've already sold that in your size. I've already sold that." And every time for weeks, I'd go in there and that same top would be there, but it was not my size. And
No.
very thankful for the person that could buy it, but I was a little ticked that she had already sold my size.
Yeah, her size. So now when we get new things in that we think Candy likes, we just send her pictures ahead of time about, do I need to put this back for you?
Or my Anne-Marie, my youngest daughter, comes in and works with you one day a week, and I get, "We thought you would like this."
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Anne comes in and helps. She does everything from cleaning to hanging and tagging clothes and does all kinds of fun stuff. But when we get something new in, she'll pull it aside. She'll go, I think my mom will like this. I said, well, is mom picking you up today? Yeah, mom's picking me up today. I was like, okay, we'll show it to her. So she's always got you on the mind. She's taking care of mom.
Yes, yes. And so, so you have their clothes size, and you carry name brands that are very popular.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then, and you carry everything from the tanks to t-shirts to dress shirts. You've carried some real, like sundresses to even dresses that you could wear to like cocktail hour.
Right.
And then you have some local vendors that you have displayed in there. So talk about some of those.
So yeah, so I'm really fortunate. One of the things that I wanted to give, and this started from day one, local makers that make something. So I've got the beaded bracelet, which is Stephanie Davis, and she makes custom bracelets. Yeah, she can do names, she can do sports teams, whatever. And then I have a young woman named Amanda Kirst. I always mispronounce her name. She has Gem and Stone, and she does more funky, cool jewelry. I don't even have my earrings in, but I had earrings on yesterday that were hers, and they're really pretty marble, quartz, and different kinds of fun shapes and everything.
Yes.
So she does a little bit more fine jewelry.
Right.
Then I have Mary Steinsheifer, and she does custom earrings, cutouts of on leather, hand painted, wood. And so they're really fun and funny. She's got some really cute nurse ones right now and teacher ones as we look to go back to school.
She's always got the like what's kind of like with holiday with holiday. That's like the holiday stuff and like the school spirit stuff. She stays on top of that.
She is on top of it. And if somebody comes in and says, well, you don't have this, I can text Mary and go, hey, somebody asked about this. And she'll be like, I can have that up there by Tuesday. Okay, great. And I let them know that she can have it. We had one that their child's on a dance team. It's a competitive dance team, not a school dance team, and what their colors were. And we had some little dance keychains.
Right.
That were panther and hornet. And so this grandma wanted one for her granddaughters and her granddaughters' friends in the right colors. I called Mary and she had them up there on Tuesday. So then we work with another lady named Tanya, and she has Chandler and Co. And she does custom soaps, bath salts, candles, all of that kind of stuff. All of it's organic or oat milk or vegan. So she has lots of options there, which is great. And I love getting to support my local makers because a lot of them have had booths in flea markets or whatever where they have to pay $100 a month. Bravo.
Right.
So in my case, they don't pay for space. They either come up there and they work one day a month.
Right.
Or we do percentages of what they make in a month. So it's not overtaxing to them,
Right.
to do it, but they don't have to pay that out of pocket every. So as they sell a
Small business supporting small business.
exactly. And so then we have Melody Van Cleve, and she's brought in all of her party supplies.
Yes.
And she has everything from Razorback, which we're sad about the holidays last night.
Yes.
But she has everything from that.
We left Hannah that is emails and they were ahead.
Yeah,
I agree. I get home and they lost. It's like, yeah, we're 7 minutes away from home.
it was so fast. But yeah, so Melody has everything from baby showers to wedding showers. And if there's something specific you're looking for and you can't find it at a big box store, I said, you can text me or Melody and we'll see what she can find and how fast she can get it here.
Right.
We've done that a couple of times. We had somebody that was doing, I think it was a bee-themed baby shower. And so they were wanting some bee-themed stuff. And so I texted her and she's like, I've got that in a tub in my garage. I'll go get pictures and bring it to you. Perfect. So lots of options and we get to stay here in our community.
Yes.
But one of the things that I'm going to talk about, because I love the most about having a boutique.
Yes.
You mentioned that I have all sizes, but I get to hear people's stories.
Yes.
And when one of my goals in doing this is I want every person that walks through my door to feel valued.
Yeah.
And to feel cared for, to feel respected, and to feel beautiful when they walk out.
Yes.
And so those are that's kind of my mission. I had a woman last week walked in and she just didn't look happy. And so we were talking and she was looking at a few things and I was like, well, that color would be really pretty on you and everything. And we got to chatting a little bit and she said, well, I'm going through a divorce after 23 years of marriage. And I said, I've been there and done that. We ended up sitting down on my couch, which I joke that my couch is always open and I always have coffee.
I was gonna bring that up. I'm glad you did.
Yeah. But we ended up sitting down and we talked for over an hour.
Yeah.
And she was like, it just feels good to know that somebody else has been through it. She didn't buy a single thing in the store. And that's fine.
Yeah. You made an impact though, because when she's shopping again,
She'll come back.
yeah. Because isn't it us women, I mean, when we're going through something, we go shopping. It's not that we're going to buy anything. It's kind of like a break for our mind. We go look at, we're strolling along. We're looking at other things. We get out of, that's right. And that is one thing. You have the couch there and people are always welcome to just sit and chat and talk. It's, we've been in there. We've had many meetings in there and, someone will walk in and we'll invite them to sit and chat with us.
Yeah.
And, Alana, you are such a strong supporter of ABBA Charities. And every year we do the event Jingle and Jazz. And this year you participated in helping one of our young ladies that was giving their testimony. You dressed her for the event.
Right.
And an outfit that she had tried on, that it was she had been working on losing weight and you know what that's like, and she had tried some pants on and had to go to a smaller size.
Yes.
And she started crying because number one, she loved how she looked.
Right.
And number two, that she was able to go into a smaller size. And now what she picked out wasn't really dress appropriate for the event. And so you took that, wrapped it up, and sent it to her as a gift for Christmas.
So yeah, I gave it to her aunt and her daughter
to
give to her on Christmas morning.
Yes.
As their gift to her.
Yes.
And so yeah, so that was fun too. And that's one of the things that I love, getting to help things like ABBA Charities and help individual women. One of the things that I do, the band,
Yeah.
it works out of Little Rock. When we get to the end of summer and all my winter stuff's coming back into session, any of my leftover winter stuff from last year, I will box up and donate to Zant. All the jackets, sweaters, coats, sweatpants,
Right.
any of that.
Yeah, they're an incredible ministry.
It's just, yeah, I learned a little bit about that, and it was a way that I could give back.
Yeah.
And a lot of my sweatpants and sweatshirts and even like denim jackets, a man or a woman could wear.
Right.
They're pretty generic.
Right.
Obviously, there's some things that are pinks and has frou-frou flowers on it. A man's probably not gonna wear it, but yeah, it's a way to give back to the community, and I love getting to be part of my community and do those kinds of things.
Right. Right. And the last Monday of every month, you're hosting ABBA Charities. Last Tuesday, Tuesday, last Tuesday of every month. I misspoke. The last Tuesday, yes, I don't make it on a month. Oh, I not make it on a month. These are always bad. But the last Tuesday of every month, you host ABBA Charities Monk-Up Nights, right? Which is a ton of fun. Come join us. Come join us. We have a ton of fun at Bunko. We make fun of each other. We eat. We laugh. We get prizes. So,
Exactly.
and we support such a wonderful ministry, and so that's something also that you do that gives back to the community, which is something that I just love about small businesses that do that. And
We have several in our community that are really good at supporting.
yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so, you know, I imagine that there is women that are watching this or will watch it in the future, and maybe they're going through a divorce after years of marriage and they're feeling lost, and uh, that whole how do I find myself through that? How do I do that? I think that having your people, your community. I mean, your faith is number one. Your faith is number one. But having your community, and I'm not talking about a lot of people because we don't want a lot of people in that most intimate corners of our lives when we're going through something so devastating, because then it becomes a prayer request. And like we're in a gossip section. You want people that are truly walking with you, praying with you, loving on you. But speak a little bit to that woman who's finding herself in a place where she's having to pick up the pieces of her life and move forward. What would you say to her?
So there are probably three things I would say. Number one, you get up every day, wash your face, put on clean clothes,
Yeah.
and have yourself whatever drink you want, whether it's coffee or a Diet Coke or whatever your morning drink is. Have consistency and do that.
Yeah.
Because getting up and moving, a body in motion stays in motion.
Yes.
So if you get up and do that every day consistently, no, some days you're not going to feel like it. But doing that consistently and knowing that is your routine
Yes.
helps you keep doing that.
Yeah.
Number two, make plans and be a friend.
Yeah.
Don't cancel plans. If you schedule something and you don't feel like it that day, do it anyway.
Yeah.
Those were some of the biggest blessing moments for me when I scheduled a dinner with somebody. And by the time the day was over, I was drained and just wanted to go home. But I had made the commitment to myself and to my therapist that I would not cancel any plan that I made.
Right.
And I got some of the biggest blessings on those days that I didn't want to go, right? Didn't want to do.
Like the battery's drained and it gives you a battery boost, right?
It does.
Yeah, it's encouraging, and or just the getting out of your head and being able to laugh at life, or just or hear what someone else is going through and being able to pour into their life.
Yep. Where exactly?
Where you're speaking into their life, but it's also feeding into yours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm a people person, so that has always been appealing to me. But I found myself wanting to retreat more and having to say, nope, I've made the commitment to my therapist and to myself that I won't cancel plans. And so I did those things. Try new things.
Mm-hmm.
That was the third thing that was really good for me. I tried cookie decorating, ended up falling in love with that and meeting some great new people that I got to go do things with during that time. Um, Working out. I went and did CrossFit for the first time ever in my life at well over what I weigh now.
Uh-huh.
And I got stronger. And it's part of the reason that I did recover from the surgery and the way it was doing the CrossFit boot camp and all of that. But it was something new that I'd never done and I went and tried. But trying new things, it allows you to meet new people.
Yeah.
It allows you to get out of whatever routines you've had
Yeah.
that when you were going through the bad things or getting to that bad point. It's things that you don't have memories
Yeah.
of what was.
Right.
It's always what is and what's going to be.
It's building those new memories.
It's building that new life and now new you. And some things, there were a couple of things that I tried and I can't think of. I tried crocheting. I am not a sit and crochet.
Me neither.
My daughter.
I'm not oldest in anything.
No, my oldest daughter, she does beautiful work. She posts every week on Instagram her updates of where her projects are. And I look at it and I'm like, I can't sit. I tried so hard to sit and do that. I can't sit and do that. Sitting and being that was something that did not work for me, but it works for her great. And so everybody's different. So finding those new things and finding out who you are
Mm-hmm.
as an individual,
Yes.
building into other people so that you can build yourself back up.
Yes.
And you're building your new reality, your new self.
Right.
And then after that, it's what we always say, lots of prayer, lots of Bible, and, be there with the people that are supporting you.
Yeah.
Let them support you. When you can't get out of bed, call and tell somebody and let them come alongside you and get you out of bed and go to brunch.
And that's a hard thing when you're going through something really difficult is um because we are kind of prideful, right? And getting past ourselves and not only allowing the help because that's hard in of itself, but admitting when we need the help and calling and saying, "Hey, I need you.
Well,
I need this."
as moms, they handle the world.
Yes.
We should be able to handle anything.
Right.
And when you're going through something as traumatic as a separation and divorce, the loss of your family, the loss of a loved one, whatever those things are, the loss of a job, um, all of a sudden you can't be strong enough to handle everything.
Right.
You have to have those people. And to your point, my circle was very small. I had my parents and I had 4 friends
Mm-hmm.
that came alongside me and walked with me through that time period.
Right.
And I could not have done it without those 4 people.
Right.
And they contacted me at some of the most inopportune moments, but they were the perfect moment to be contacted.
Right.
I joke that I'm not a wine drinker, never been a wine drinker, but my neighbor across the street in Sterling Oaks, he was going through a divorce at the same time. And there would be times where he'd call and go, how do you feel about sitting out in the yard and having a glass of wine? I was like, I can have a glass of wine just to have the company.
Yeah.
And I got to interact with his daughter some and help them kind of through that time, which helped me through that time.
Yes. Yeah.
You were just down the street, so there were times where you would just stop. We wrapped all of your Christmas presents one night because I just didn't want to be alone. I was like, "What are you doing?" She was like, "I don't wrap Christmas presents." I was like, "Well, come on over. We'll wrap Christmas presents together."
This is when I found out that Elena is really good at making bows because Kandi can't. I got they knows. She can whip them up. I was like, hey, I don't know how anybody does that, but you're so good.
I can do that. But yeah, I mean, those are the moments that you have to go and find
Yeah.
when you're going through the hard things.
Yeah.
Finding those moments with those close friends.
Yes.
And letting them support you, even if it's wrapping Christmas presents.
Right. Right.
It doesn't.
And I would say even as a friend watching a friend go through that, and just knowing how we are as strong women, because you and I both are very strong women, and we do think that we have a handle on everything, right? Because we're prideful, we can do everybody can do everything. But as a friend watching a friend going through that, And when you would isolate and not return calls and, I'm like, I'm only right down the street, so you can't hide forever. I'm like, 4 houses down.
Yeah, everybody knows now, after going through that, everybody knows, even my boyfriend now, that there are days where I'm like, my battery is completely empty.
Yeah.
And I have to kind of I don't isolate as much anymore,
Right.
but I do withdraw.
Right.
So, like,
But as a friend, it's important to be a good friend, to
keep
not
contacting.
let not just go, "Oh, well, she's not calling me back," or she's not, to have the mindset that this person is really going through a difficult time. They're drained. They're processing a lot, and I'm not gonna drop the ball because this person needs me regardless if they know that they need me or not.
Well, and you can say, okay, I'm going to give them today.
Right.
But if I don't hear from them by noon tomorrow,
Getting a knock on the door.
it's got barred right on in there. I mean, that's the kind of thing that friends do.
That's right. That's right.
Because
We don't drop the ball.
we don't know how to let them drown. Does whatever's going on.
Right. Right.
And I could have easily have done that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important as a friend watching a friend go for something so bad, to give enough space, but not just act like, oh, well, when they're ready, they'll come around. Because then you really, you put walls up in that friendship, because then when that person does come over the other side, it's like, well, they didn't care enough to come around. They didn't care enough to reach out.
I'm going to love the people that love me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be there for the people that are there for me.
Yeah.
Because I can't be there for everybody.
Right.
Which, when I was younger, I thought I could.
Right.
But then I had nothing left for me.
Yeah.
Now I know how to protect myself.
Yes.
And be there for me, as well as be there for the people that I need to be there for.
Right.
Right. But that comes with age and experience and maturity.
It does.
But
It does. Well, I just appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you coming in today, Sherry. Now, tell me, on the Corner Downtown Boutique, let all of our listeners know how they can find you.
so, several different ways. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a website. I was trying to think of what the next word was. So on Instagram, I'm Shop the Corner Downtown.
Okay.
On Facebook, it's just the Corner Downtown. The website is shopthecornerdowntown.com. And then I'm at 101 North Main Street in Benton, at the corner of South Street and Main Street.
Yes.
So easy to find. I'm there Tuesday through Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Today is third Thursday in Benton. I know this won't be up till next week, but we do third Thursday, the third Thursday of each month, and we're there until 8 on third Thursday. So it allows it's a whole street festival with music.
Yeah.
Nonprofits come out. I think ABBA Charities is coming out tonight.
Yeah. Right in front of your building.
Mm-hmm. And so it's lots of opportunities to meet new people, to find out about other nonprofits in our community.
Right.
And the small
There's a lot of little small businesses. Yeah.
And then there's food trucks, and there's music in the little parks and on the courthouse. There's cornhole. Tonight there's a barbecue thing at the Barnum Market.
Okay. Barbecue. Amateur barbecue. We're right by the farmer's market at the corner. One block. And so we'll be smelling that and probably being hungry.
They're already cooking it. You can already smell it. I drove through downtown this morning.
Oh my.
So yes, so come see us.
Well, you and I both had Memphis ties. I'm from, so it's your family. Your parents are from Memphis. And so when I moved to Central Arkansas, I was like, where is good barbecue at around here? Because when you're from Memphis,
it's a different ballgame here.
It is. It is.
So what's your favorite in Memphis?
Well, everybody really likes Rendezvous.
I've never been a fan.
I've never been a great fan of theirs.
It's more up-class barbecue. It is down in the downtown areas. It's a
name. It's a name, and it has a landmark. But I like a lot of this little small corner.
I was trying to remember which one it is that Mom and Dad always loved. you get your pork rinds from there?
Oh, well, that's, Memphis barbecue.
Yes.
Yes, I get my pork rinds every time I go back towards, Memphis to Mississippi, or Brittany, our oldest, whenever she's coming, I'm like, "I need pork rinds."
Yes.
I need pork rinds, but do you know who in town has really good pork rinds?
Who?
Baja Grill.
Really?
Yes, so Baja Grill right down here
On South Street?
on South Street, um, plug out, I mean, great food at Baja. But when you get, chips and dip, which I'm not only carnivore, but I love my crunchy crunchies, and so, they offer pork rinds, and they're good, and they're fresh.
That's a low carb option
Yes.
to be able to have chips and dip.
Yes. And why I'm so going there and so gosh, today fresh, and they're like they come to the table warm, and I'm like in heaven. So yeah, Baja Grill has really good pork rinds. Yep, yep. So
I could call that.
well, because we're friends, we could literally hang out with you all day long, but I know that we both are going to have to end this, or we would literally sit here all day.
And, I do have work today at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to all of our listeners, when you're going through life's challenges, if it's divorce or loss of a parent, loss of a job, any kind of loss, or you're just some major changes that are going on, or even really bad sickness in your life, just understand clinging and holding fast to prayer and your faith is vital. It feeds the soul. Put people in your life that truly love you, that you can call out to in those times, that will walk the journey with you. And that's so important, the walk the journey, not that you become a something for them to talk about, but to truly walk that journey and love you through it. And sometimes you have to hear hard truths when you go through that. But it should always be in love, because restoration and growth is something that we should always strive to see within our friend groups and those that we love. Make sure to take time out for yourself. Find that one thing to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Like for me, it is my couple times a week getting alone in my bathroom with a detox bath soap, with my glass of wine, my soft spa music with candles. For Elena, it's getting her cup of coffee and going out on the porch in the morning, and just taking her breathing time and reading. We each have to find what works for us. But as Elena reminds us, that we do have to move. We do have to get up out of bed, brush our teeth, change our clothes. We do have to move and make sure that you have those consistent routines. Know that you will get through this. And when you're going through the pain, as painful as it is, you're going to be able to see blessings on the other side. Don't allow pride to stand in the way of getting help, and allow people to love on you. I think that as women, that's so hard for us to do, is to allow others to be vulnerable enough, to allow others to love on us. Until next time, this is Kandi Unfiltered, and I just challenge you to breathe this week. Just breathe.
That's right.
Have a good week.
This episode is brought to you by Pretties and Grace, a faith-based boutique offering high-quality home decor and gifts at prices for every budget. From stunning vases and greenery to statement seasonal pieces for every holiday, plus the sweetest gifts, they truly have it all. Pretties and Grace has 3 locations, their main store in the heart of downtown Benton, along with shops in Malvern and Fayetteville. You can also browse and shop online at prettiesandgrace.com. A huge thank you to Pretties and Grace for sponsoring this episode.